Hello everyone, this is Game Arts with doing an unboxing, another offline gaming experience. This is CrossCode for the PlayStation 4. Now this is a PAL import physical copy. Sadly though, there is no American physical copy release currently since the making of this video. Also keep in mind that the site Strictly Limited Games also produced a collector's edition version of this game, both for the PS4 and Nintendo Switch. That is a PAL version as well. But just keep in mind there is a standard mass production version, which is PAL, which is the physical copy I have now. By my understanding and researching it, they're both identical in terms of what's on the disc. It's just a collected edition from Strictly Limited Games, comes with a bunch of extra items for, of course, a collected edition. Now, this physical copy, the PAL version here, comes with the update version 1.03 on disc, but sadly there was a little bit of size update. This update was 62 megabytes big and will take you to version 1.04 since the making of this video. As you can see in the update history of that patch fix, I played the entire game and didn't really experience any problems, bugs, or just hindrance or anything like that. Other than one thing they mentioned that they fixed. The game mentions that they fixed the hit radius when you're up close, really close to an enemy. I only experienced this problem where my hits were missing when an enemy is a flying enemy and you knock them down and you get up really close. When they're just enemies that crawl around the ground, being really close never was a problem. But just keep that in mind if you're fighting enemies that fly and you knock them down or anything, try not to be so close or just hit them with your projectiles. Now, into the game. Now, if you're not familiar with CrossCode in any form, the best way I can describe the experience is that if you've ever seen the anime Sword Art Online, if you haven't, then it makes this harder to explain, but it's kind of like people going into a virtual reality where you're not like going and putting on a VR headset, but you're actually like going into a virtual world with your body figure that you can control. It's like a giant MMO where you play with other people who are doing the exact same thing. Well, you play as Leah, as the main character. Now, in the game, Leah is suffering from amnesia. She trying to recover her memory. She doesn't know who she is, where she is, or what's going on, or what happened to her. Well, they're trying to use Crossworlds, which is the world in the game, to help her try to recover her memory. And that's pretty much summarizes the game. Anything go further than that will lead to massive spoilers and just little big reveals and stuff like that. It's just strictly that. But the game has a kind of a multi-story system set up where the game you're playing, the game within the game, has its own story, with kind of like a developer making a story to their game. But also you have a story evolving around Leah, where she has her story going on. As well as I said, it is an MMO, so you're playing with characters who are supposed to be real-life people with real-life lives. And it's fun and neat to meet these characters who will talk about their real-life life. Because, it's supposed to be grounded in reality that these people just, go to school or go to work and so forth, just like me and you, when we go play a video game. That's pretty much good summarizing of the game. Now, the game is, of course, as you can see, a 2D sprite, a top-down graphical game. The game is focus on an action RPG style where you get experience by killing enemies, running around, hitting enemies. It's not like a turn-based game. But through that, you need to keep in mind that this game is a strong focus on puzzles. If you're not a fan of environmental puzzles, this game might irritate you because that's the main focus of this game. You're going to be doing like a lot of Legend of Zelda solving puzzles and so forth. I don't mind this. It's the reason why I like Legend of Zelda, because I love environmental puzzles. But it's the main focus of the game. Now, there is a difficulty slider, so in case the game is too hard for you, you can adjust the game to be a little bit more easier in terms of the puzzles being a little bit slower and the enemies not being so difficult, or an enemy's attacks won't be as so quick. So it's great to have options like that. Overall, the game is a ginormous overall world kind of experience. The game has a pretty good amount of content and so forth. It took me around 60 hours to beat the game. There's lots of side quests and so forth, and there's still even more stuff that I have not done in the game. There's a lot that you can do in this game. So it's really just like a giant open world sprite graphic style game. I really got into it, both the gameplay, the puzzles, and the characters. That doesn't mean the game isn't flawed. There are some things in it that are annoying, and I'm sure you experience. First off, perception in the game. It's kind of hard to tell when a platform's higher or lower than you. So you'll be finding yourself jumping to a platform, and you just hit a wall because you don't realize that platform's technically higher than what you can see. Other than that, enemies, this is a personal pet peeve, but enemies are able to interrupt some of your attacks. What's aggravating is that there's some fights in the game where you can't seem to interrupt their attacks, so it's kind of aggravating to have this disjointed rule where, hey, we can interrupt you, but you can't interrupt them. I found this really annoying, especially when you're doing a PvP like fight duel, and they don't have to follow the same rules as you do. I don't know, that irked me. But overall, I still had a good time experience, other than, like I said, the bug where now getting close to the enemy. That was a little frustrating, but once I learned how to approach those enemies, it didn't bug me anymore. But, again, I cannot tell you how much fun I had playing this game. It's definitely a hidden little gem on a current generation consoles. It is also available on the Nintendo Switch, but I simply enjoyed this game. It was a lot of fun. The music's good. The characters were all really well presented. I just really enjoyed this game and its story and characters. Other than maybe the Leah's story came a little bit more generic and it kind of expected. I kind of just like the idea of just playing characters who are all trying to get into a world and just playing an MMO and trying to solve that MMO's world story. Leah's story aspects was okay. It's not like it's bad, but I kind of expected it, the way the direction of the story went. But regardless of that, the game is packed with content. There's a lot to do. Oh, and one other thing, I almost forgot to mention this. I don't think the game is complete. There is a hidden extra when you beat the game. There's an extra epilogue episode, if you will, that will be like an extra little extension to the story, but the game tells you that it will come eventually. But I actually, looking into it, a lot of people have been saying it's been a while since they've heard any update about this extra part to the story. Now, don't think you have to feel like the game isn't complete, as the game is 100% completable and the story does finish off really well. But there's apparently supposed to be extra content coming later that's not on the disc. So I don't know if that got delayed or canceled or whatever, or it just took a little longer to get it done because of the whole COVID. But just keep that in mind, that it may not be complete and we may eventually see another physical release of this game with everything on disc. But in my opinion, it's still worth a pick up, because who knows, maybe they had to discontinued it to go work on a new project and so forth, because I can see this game being a big endeavor for them, because there's lots of content. The sprite work graphics are great, the puzzles are really good, some of them are really vague sometimes to figure out what you need to do. The only hints I can really give you in terms of the hints is most puzzles are as simple as they look, so just don't try to overthink them. Nextly, always remember to ricochet your shots. That's going to be a big part. Remember to ricochet your shots. But in the end, I had a great time. I highly recommend the game. Even if you want to go out and buy the PAL version to import it, it's still worth your time. I might even go out of my way to buy the Switch versions. That way I have two versions of this game. Hopefully we'll find out more information about this extension in the story, but it's not necessary if they decide to cancel it. I still had a great time with this game, and there's still much stuff I have left to do in this game. I could probably go up to 100 hours in this game, in this one little sprite graphic style game. So, like always, I'll try to leave links down in the description if you're instant copy. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next unboxing video. Bye-bye!